Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timisha and this is Timisha Tutoring. This is a channel where codas come to grow in the profession and where occupational therapy students come to pass their board exams so they can become practitioners. And in this video, I am going to address the question, I keep failing the NBC OTA exam and I don't know why. Well, I may have the answer to that question. So if you want to come into my living room with me and we just have this discussion, then continue to watch this video. All right, let's go. Okay, guys, so we are having a conversation here in my living room and I'm sitting on the couch because I really want this to be like a very comfortable, relaxed conversation. And a lot of my videos are like teaching and stuff like that. So I figure I'm going to start incorporating more of these kind of discussion style videos. And if you see me looking down, it's because I have my notebook here where I got all my notes and stuff so I don't forget to mention anything to you guys. But one of the questions, I think this is probably one of the biggest questions that I see online, or that when I get a email or a DM, people ask me, they're like, I keep failing this exam and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, right? So there is 4 things I'm going to mention in this video. And if you have your notebook, this is a great time to pull it out and take some notes because your girl is going to go deep today. All right. So the first thing is this, right? You want to do a self-assessment. You have to do a self-assessment because if you are not passing, if you're a repeat, and this, of course, this video is for repeat test takers, right? If you're not passing, there is a reason. There is definitely a reason. And I think you might fall into these categories as I speak. And if this is you, definitely put in the comments saying, man, this is me. And this is how I'm going to fix it, right? Give me your solutions. Give me your thoughts, right? So the first thing is you want to do a self-assessment. Now you need to understand when you are studying, are you trying to memorize the information or are you trying to get a critical understanding of the information? That's probably the best way I can say it. So if you are trying to just open the book and you're reading and you're memorizing, then you are doing something where I called a surface level learning. Okay. But if you are really getting a critical understanding of the topics where you can critically reason and critically think, then that is a good thing. Now, that's not to say that there's not portions of this exam that requires memorization. There really is. It really, truly is a small portion. But the whole point of this exam is that it is a critical thinking exam. So under your self-assessment, you need to be asking yourself that question. When I was studying, was I really focusing on trying to memorize rationales? Was I focused on trying to memorize diagnoses and stuff like that versus getting a greater understanding than just simply memorizing? Okay. And that leads us into, do you have test anxiety, right? Are you someone that tends to freeze when it's time to sit for exams or tests, right? Are you someone that feel like you get easily distracted because you're nervous? And when you're looking at the question, it's kind of like you go blank and then you find yourself having to reread the question and then you reread it and then you're like, I'm not really sure what I read, right? You want to check that because that's going to affect you. That's also going to affect your energy as well, because sometimes I realize that people that tend to run out of time or they feel like they're rushing at the end is because they are oftentimes allowing their energy to be drained because they're so anxious. So think about it. Whenever we have a level of anxiety, right? It's not fear. People get anxiety very confused with fear, and anxiety is not fear because fear is an imminent danger, right? Anxiety likes to mimic fear but it's not. It's anxiety is the belief that something bad is going to happen. So it's actually an irrational belief. It's not real, right? So people react in the way where they start sweating, or they get like chills, or their blood pressure gets high, or they're having like palpitations, right? These anxiety and fears presents in our body in a way we respond to it. So you have to get that under control, because if you don't get under control, you're actually draining the energy that you need to be focused, to be able to pay attention, and to really be able to comprehend these questions. So definitely want to get that in check. And when I was talking previously about memorization and understanding, you need to be able to understand how to do active recall. Okay. In my program, Timisha Tutoring, we have a whole video series where I'm talking about active recall and how to get good at it. Because there's something called where you're a surface level learner, where you're storing information in your short-term memory, and then you are now going more deep, where you're storing information in your long-term memory. So definitely want you to learn how to be able to store information in your long-term memory. And that is definitely something we teach in the program, which is really great. So that's the first thing. So self-assessment, very, very important. Now, the second thing is, are you disciplined? Okay. It's literally that simple. Are you disciplined? Because you can say, okay, I'm going to test for this exam. And you sit down, it's time to study, and your phone is going off. You're answering a phone call. You're looking at your notifications. You're pausing in the middle of your study time to go do something else. You're allowing people to distract you, right? Interrupt you. And you're just simply not disciplined to the point where you have allocated a certain time for you to study, and you're just not upholding to that time. You're not giving you the space to do what you need to do. And that results in you making excuses, right? And the excuses can be in the form of, I'm too busy. I don't have enough time that I was hoping for to dedicate. Or it could be something where you're making excuses, where you're blaming it on the kids. Oh, my kids got a lot going on, so this is why I'm not able to study. Or my spouse needs me, and this is why I'm not really able to study the way I want to. No, you have to discipline yourself, right? If this is something you truly want, you have to prioritize it. And we always prioritize things that we really, truly want. Okay? That's the second thing. Now, the third thing is extrinsic distractions. What do I mean by this? Allowing outside, and hear me out. Sometimes things are just simply out of our control, right? So for example, what do I mean by that? Family life, right? When you're preparing to go take your exam, how is your family life? Are you stressed out because maybe you're in a situation where you're going through a divorce? Are you having a hard time because maybe someone in the family just passed away? How is your work life? Are you stuck in a job that you hate and it just drains so much energy out of you, making it hard for you to study? Are you in a situation where maybe your job is just giving you crazy overtime hours and you just feel like there's nothing I can do about this? Are you coming into a home that's a very stressful environment where as soon as you walk into the door, your husband or your spouse is telling you, can you do this? Or your kids is running up to you and you're running them to different activities and stuff like that. And it's just very, very challenging. Or are you going through new changes? Maybe you're a new mom. Okay, and you just had a newborn, or maybe you have aging parents that you're trying to take care of, right? So extrinsic distractions is going to affect your ability to study and is going to affect your ability to pass this. So my best advice when it comes to certain things is you have to give yourself a beat, right? You have to give yourself time, and not to say that there's going to be a perfect time, but you have to pay attention to what's going on around you, and then finding ways of coping, finding ways of relaxation, finding ways to have an outlet, and dedicating a space that's meant for you. And I often tell my students, like, if you need to get out of the home and go to the library, or if you need to get out of the home and go to the park, if you need to go into like one of those, like, I think they're like one of those like workspaces, then that's what you should do. If you need to go to like a Starbucks and kind of be in the corner and get your coffee and sit down and study, just to get away from all the noise, that's what you do. If you need to wake up earlier, okay, and this is also pulling in discipline. If you know you have young kids, like I have kids. I have 2 kids and I currently am pregnant with one on the way. But I'm able to be there presently for my spouse, be there presently for my kids, run this business, be on the calls for my students, right? And still do all the things like activities, pickups, drop-offs, cooking, cleaning, all those things I'm still able to do, right? And of course, once baby's here, eventually, I'm going to be going back to school myself and working per diem. So there's a lot going on. So you have to learn how to balance it and pick your battles wisely, okay? And then the fourth and the last thing is, of course, all of this is falling under just your self-assessment, but the fourth and last thing is your study plan, okay? When you started to study, did you have a strategy? Did you have a plan? Did you create a study guide for yourself? Did you go into the exam very random and just kind of all the books are spread out and you're just picking and choosing, okay, I'm going to look at this today, I'm going to look at that tomorrow? If you do not have a study plan, it's going to be very challenging for you to cover the topics that are necessary for the exam. Because remember, you're in a program for like 2 years, right? So that's 2 years worth of information stuffed into a 4-hour test of 190 questions. So there's so much that you can be asked. So you need to have a good plan and a good idea where to start and how to do it in a way that is a proven strategy, a proven system. And if you do not have these things, I am inviting you to sign up for my free webinar. In this free webinar, I'm going to be talking about how to pass the NBCOT exam on your first or your next attempt with strategy, not stress. Okay, it's coming up. It's coming up in the month of January. So it's a perfect time to register now so you can start getting those welcome emails and stuff like that. And also go to my website. Timisha Tutoring program is my most robust program. It's a 12-week program where you have weekly group calls. You have a mindset coach that's helping people through all the mental blocks and all the challenges of life. And there's so much more. There's 12 weeks of video module training. Like, it's a really, really great program. Of course, there is private tutoring now. If you are an OTA student that's currently in school, we are offering now coursework help as well. It's not quite there on the site, but if that's something you're interested in, all you have to do is send me an email and we can get you set up for that. I did have someone already take advantage of the OTA coursework. I believe there's a video where you can see me kind of going through that on my channel. So definitely go check that out and make sure you go over to my social media platforms. I am now on Instagram as well as TikTok. And if you are like, I need a community to be a part of, Timisha, go to my description below and join my free private Facebook group, where in that group I share questions, I share insights, announcements, all of that good stuff. All right, so I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that it gave you some insight, and make sure you like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. All right, guys, I'll talk to you again on the next time. Bye-bye.